I don't think he needs any further introduction, just that I read the story he read on Medium one evening, and I was searching for a talk on UX for the How to Web conference stage, and I sent it to the UX community asking whether I should invite him to take the stage, and the answer of the UX community was definitely yes, he's sensational. No further introduction.
Thank
We
you.
did done again.
Thank you. Thank you. So they only gave me 20 minutes, and this is probably something that we should all talk about at a lot of the drinks. Like it's a couple of days story anyway. So, but I'm gonna try to squeeze it in. The photo in the background, I thought it was gonna be a little bit more visible, but the photo in the back is our office and where we built this product. And we needed to expand to build a new team, and we got this new blank space that had just the brick walls. So they said hey, you can do whatever you want with it, and we created this industrial-like kind of a design, which we thought was going to be of inspiration for us. We really went design-driven. So we built this thing we were really proud about because it was inspirational in the end. And they, I wrote an article about how we built the product, and I called it "How We Built Great Hardware Outside of Silicon Valley," which is, of course, sort of like a clickbait thing, because of course everybody wants to see, But in truth, we built Box in Bucharest with Romanian people and with really little to no experience about building hardware. Bitdefender is a software company, has been the software company for such a long time, and we had really no idea how to build hardware. Nobody does. And why I think this presentation is important for you, if you are into any kind of product development right now, that's probably service or cloud or a digital application, is that probably in the next few years you're going to be working yourselves on a hardware product. So there's cues for you here. Now. This is the Pacifica Highway. It's a beautiful road in California, and why I chose this photo is because hardware is really beautiful, and it's a beautiful winding road just like this, but it's very treacherous and dangerous. At the end of it, you'll see you get a lot of good results, but it just looks great when you start it. It's like, this is going to be great. But then all these problems arose. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to talk to you a couple of things about ideation, how we designed, how we decided, how we made the decisions on how to design the product. We're going to go through designing locally and for a global market, how we understood the global market when we started working on the product, and then we're going to go to the manufacturing gremlins and what happens actually on the factory floor. First and foremost, how and where do we get our inspiration? This is the toughest thing ever. When you start designing a product that's physical, most of the problems are about convincing people that are going to buy this product to put it somewhere that they can actually see. And if this, like in our case, is a product that's going to have a Wi-Fi module in it, you don't want people to stack anything on top of it. So one of the challenges was to make people put this product somewhere up where they could see it and where you could see it, and then it won't be obstructed. So we started designing this, and unfortunately, the time we started designing, we had no idea about the innards of it. I mean, the electronic side was unknown yet. We have not decided. So how do you design an enclosure for something they don't even know is going to host? So we started anyway. And if you think you're going to have a plan and you're going to have deadlines that you're not going to miss, forget that. You will miss all of them along the way, but it's great. So this is our first drawing board, and this is how we started. In fact, we said, let's look at what people have in their homes, and then we said, okay, you see down there, there's a little IKEA furniture. Everybody has that in their home. So we said, okay, we start from there, and then we're going to look at different transparencies and stuff like that. But okay, let's move forward. What does Box do? Well, Box is sort of a trap for malware. It traps bad things. So yeah, how many of you remember this or know what this is? Ghostbusters, yeah. So if you're, I don't know if older, I should say, I don't feel that old. There was this awesome movie when we were kids about these guys who were catching ghosts with this trap. This is a ghost trap. So we said, okay, our box is a ghost trap, so we have to make it look like this. But It looks silly. We don't want this, so we move forward. And then we threw our heads and we said, let's look at aviation, because aviation. These guys do everything so beautifully. They make such a good job at creating these beautiful objects that are good quality, very lightweight. They get the best possible materials, and they're very durable, and this and that. So we looked at Lufthansa and their beautiful plastic cups here, and we drew a lot of inspiration from that. We went forward and we said, okay, these machined aluminum things that are great, gorgeous, very sturdy, and are going to last forever. This is great inspiration. Let's move forward. This is a latch from a MacBook a couple of years back. They don't make them anymore. If you look, you would pop up the battery with it. This is a simple design, and it's on the back of a MacBook, and you're not being impressed. But they make airplanes have latches like this. Okay, so airplanes, they have these latches, the hatches that they get stuff on, that fit different cables and so on. They pop up with latches like this. So Apple guys had airplane engineers when they built this. It's kind of cool. And we looked at it and said, we love this. Okay, cables. We love cables to be, out there, out of the way. We didn't want to have them visible, so we took a lot of inspiration, or we looked around for these harman kardon speakers, and not only. You can see that they have this beautiful translucent plastic, and then a little kind of like a cable management system in the back. And then we look forward other cables, different management features. We never put any of these in the box eventually because they're kind of complicated and expensive, but we really looked for it. This beautiful aluminum cube that had a little light behind it, below it, this was good inspiration for us. It came later, you'll see why. This, for example, is a coin tray and cash tray for Apple stores in Tokyo. They only made these in Tokyo in Japan. They're CNC, they're machined out of cherry wood, and they were beautiful. And we said, maybe we're going to do something in wood. How about that? It was great. And then we dropped it. It was so stupid. But it was great inspiration. Then we liked this shoe for some reason. I don't know why, but we loved it. It was great color. And it was also the plastic that they used. And then we looked at this object that was beautiful. You could see a little Cisco thing, right? I don't know. Cisco doesn't design great stuff. This was a surprise. So this was aluminum. We took some cues out of it. Then this brown record player. This was, I don't know if it was a record player, but it was a beautiful object, dual tone, made out of aluminum and that classy plastic to the back. It was great inspiration. A little little strap of leather. It was as great ideas out of there. This aluminum cube. We just looked at these objects and say, hey, we can relate, or more or less. This is a wallet we loved. This is, of course, if you've been to Seville, I have not. A beautiful construction out of wood that we drew inspiration. And then we got to this Bang & Olufsen speaker in a fancy home, and we said, that's where our product's going to go. Like, look at it. It's going to be the same. We're going to make it something monumental. How about that? And we took some cues out of this. And then we looked on Instagram, and on Instagram, a lot of people post these photos about their homes, how fancy and elegant they want to have them. And then they're like, okay, our product's going to go there, right by that little flower. This is going to look good, right? And we went to this fancy apartment in New York. Everybody knows about this apartment. It was everywhere, and all the news. Oh, everybody wants to buy this place or rent it. If you look closely, actually, there's absolutely no digital device in this photo. So how would you fit yours? How would you design it? It would look good there. And in fact, these are the products of reality. This is a regular photo of my friend's home in the Netherlands, and this is the reality of things. It's just shit. Everything looks really bad if you look to the back, and that's our problem. How do we design something that doesn't add to this, or just fits somewhere in there? Because we looked at hundreds and hundreds of photos, and everybody apparently in our main markets puts these things in little cubby holes, and they toss them somewhere. They hide them away. They don't want these things to be seen, but we still wanted our product to be out there visible. So we created a few mock-ups. And we wanted to fix some of these solutions, the cables, the tangling mess, everything. So we said, hey, let's build the box. Okay, what I'm showing you here, due to lack of time, is one of the latest prototypes we ever designed. And we wanted, remember I said, we wanted to make something monumental, look good. We want to put this on our, on near our TV, and it's going to look great, and everybody's going to love to have this dual aluminum, plastic, retro kind of a thing. Because if you remember, 2 years back when we started, everybody was just selling these rounded iPhones. So it was starting to be round. Everybody wanted these Smeg fridges that were round. So we thought, hey, everything is going classic again. We're going to go do this. So we thought it was a great idea. And then what we did, we designed the we designed the mock-ups. We created the first, like you see, the first renderings in 3D. Then we created more renderings, and eventually we printed those things out on a 3D printing machine. It was like, wow, this is such progress. So it was only now that we actually started working on building Box, because beforehand, we only had ideas. Now we had a physical, tangible thing that we could work with. This is later when we shrunk the whole thing. And here's interesting information. We wanted to put the power supply inside. But our supplier said, hey, if you want to do that, no way, screw that. It's not going to happen because you need a year's more of certification. And was like, we don't have that. I'm like, okay, then this is made. You're going to take the thing out. It's like, okay, simple for you to say. So we took the power supply out. And that meant that when we took the power supply out, it meant that the box was going to be lighter. It was going to have a dangling adapter somewhere. A lot of compromise. But that's what you're going to hit when you're going to start working on your own thing. Now, this looks great. This is amazing. I keep looking at it. It's like, wow, this stacking thing. And if you could animate it, you could see like all of them sticking right there because, like, you know, the plastic enclosure and the PCB and the little aluminum to the bottom. You see the aluminum plate to the bottom? We were so happy about that. You know why? Because we thought that was going to help with the heat dissipation and everything about the parts. But when we took the power supply out, we didn't have any heating issues. So that part was just lame. It was fake. It didn't have any actual reason to be there. So if you're true about your design, you're going to kick that out because it's fake, right? We went ahead regardless and we designed this. And this was one of the first things that we were really happy about and happy with. And that was the aluminum plate at the bottom. This screenshot also still shows the device that had the power supply in. Later we took it out. But, you know, it looked great, right? We were just about to start working on pre-production, and we build the mock-ups, and we had a good calendar that we just wanted to get the final approval and go on to mass production because everybody was kind of happy with things. And we built this. We were very happy when we put this out there. It looked very professional. We had no idea what we were doing. But anyway, we trusted our partners that it was going to work. And you could see there up there, you can see the two spots in brighter gray. That's when the Chinese were in vacation. It was very important for us to work with them at the time, but they were off. So deadlines again, totally screwed. So we went to prototyping, which is like the coolest, greatest part you've all been waiting for. That's what you got here for, right? Don't use these. And don't use these. Okay? If you're going to build a prototype for your product, do not spend money and time getting 3D printers. I know some of you are going to fight with me on this one. Just don't do that. You know, they're messy, they are expensive, they are cumbersome, they take a shitload of time to do anything with, and they're not even that precise. We got all of these. We got these, we got the other ones. They're shit. Do not get these. In fact, might as well just go to these people who make professional prototypes with actually injection molding machines with actual stuff, and you're going to build these beautiful prototypes like we did. And when we made those, don't be cheap like we were, and make sure your prototype's going to have the best finish you can get. I know it was the most expensive one. We should have had that, because we went back home to our board and we said, look, this beautiful product that we printed. I was like, what's the shitty finish? Don't do that to yourselves. Get the best finish you can get. These guys will do it for you. For example, our guys in Germany, they did this 3 days. They printed this beautiful things for us. And that's what you see right there. That's the actual mold that they use. Now, this is one of the assembly models that we made. You see the aluminum plate still there. Injection molding. We didn't really like the B. It was a little too heavy on that side. So what we did, we said, we need to work on this and maybe refine it. You'll see a little bit of the process here. Aluminum plates, injection molding as they came in, sandblasting, assembly in our shop, in our office, and then some final product assembled on my desk. It looked beautiful. We thought we could just go on a long vacation now. It was just great. And it did look great, but it wasn't. Because this prototype had so many issues. Okay, you would look at it and it's like, oh, that works fine. You know, it has a little red LED right there and so on. It's great. Well, we didn't get the LED right, and we had no time to do it. The aluminum plate was fake. We hadn't gotten the cables we wanted, so we all had these issues. So we said, okay, what do we do? It's when the backup plan comes in place, and we had a backup plan that we only worked for a few weeks. but it was better in every way. And actually, one of the most important things is, I'm going to talk to you about this later, our product had this beautiful red light on it, but when in terms, when you're talking about security, you don't want to have red things over your product. That's kind of spells trouble, right? So, and then if you have a red light on your device, then you want to take that red, that's the company logo, the company main color, of course, so you want to have that red. So you want to take that red and put it on all the apps, and you want to have an interface based on red. That doesn't work. An interface that's all red, that doesn't work. So we said, okay, let's work on this plan. And this is the first, this is one of the files we sent out to the patent office back in the US with one of the designs of the upgraded product that we were designing. And now, this is one of my favorite shots. First and foremost, the hairline of the design of what we sent to the patent office, like the simplest possible form. And then the next one down is one of the first 3D models we did. And then it was actually that was a Photoshop model, and then a 3D model. And then the one at the bottom is the actual final product. And you could see, I mean, I can't believe that when we built this, we were hoping it was going to look like this. In the end, it did. And it's just amazing. If you've ever built anything that was software, an application, or something that does not entail a physical form, when you build something that's physical and you always wanted to, it's just magic. And we got to this point. This is one of the first prototypes that we made. It's actually printed with one of those coarse 3D printers that we all hated, but it was a good step, because it helped us play and toy with the volume and the size and some of the inner things, and the LED I'll show you later. This is the second one we did. We printed this out at a partner, and this was a laser printed 3D model that was very precise. Later, we built this beautiful, actually this was machined out of polycarbonate, and they built the mold out of this. This was completely accurate to the production model. It was just machined out of polycarbonate. And then our partners, which were great, our Chinese partners, they said, hey, we're going to make you these awesome, near lifelike prototypes that you're going to use to test, market test and send to partners and press and so on. And we had a few of these made. They looked exactly like the finite prototype, the finite product, which was this. Absolutely indistinguishable. Again, this is very important who you partner with, when you partner with, because they can do stuff like this to you that you cannot do on your own. This was really helpful for us. And then we started taking photos in the office. I mean, I'm gonna send you these pictures if you want it, because they look great on your phone on the screen. It's like you put them on the table and you put a little, ball, and it's like different objects to make your product look better. But in fact, it actually looked very good, and we're really proud about it. And then we made this. I don't know if is there audio? There is.
Small boxes. Big boxes. Sweet boxes. All kinds of boxes. We like them because we can hide inside them. Or because they bring us closer. But most of all, because they hold wonderful things inside. Things that are exciting. Things that are useful. Because they hold things that bring us joy.
There's people at a party there.
So this is why we like this box. Because it protects everything that's connected to the internet. All the worries, all the insecurity, all the trouble gone. The future has a lot to offer, and you will enjoy the Internet of Good Things.
When we made that, I think somebody in the office cried, because it was such a culmination of pressure that ultimately made something beautiful that people to enjoy. And this is a security product. Security is not sexy, and we were trying to make it look good. So this was our main goal. And here you see is one of the prototypes that we played with to have the LED gotten right, and we had this blue light that looked like shit. So we got our engineers to figure out a little board that we can toy with different shades of until we got the right shade of blue, which was Robinek blue, a little like a medical kind of a shade that we later use in all our apps. And we actually spent a lot of time in doing this. And this is the PCB as it looks on the back. Everybody has a green PCB on their thing. We wanted a black one. Actually, it wasn't really black. It was more like a darker gray or something. We wanted it to be different. We wanted it to look good, even on the inside. And if you get the chance, we didn't have the chance, have your engineers sign the innards of it. We didn't have the chance about that. But then that's the LED, and that's how it looks on the inside. And then the finite product, of course, was these beautiful applications that had the same colors with the same interface of the LED that we later put in the device. And it was harmonious, and finally, and we're really excited that this happened. Now, I'm going to jump quick over this because you have seen the presentation, but then we really wanted the application to match the airiness and the cleanliness of the device itself and the whole concept. So we put all these things. This is the step when we went to mass production. I'm ramping up a little bit because we're running out of time, but this is Alex, our engineer in China, looking at their samples. And we were in China for about, he was there for a long time, but I was there with him for about a week, and we were on the production line. And those guys, the engineers, came with this lot of trays of samples of the enclosures, and we had to look at them and say, okay, this is good or not. And I don't know if you know, when you make these things, they look great in the first day, but then they shrink, and then they get these shrinkage marks, and the next day, you don't know about this unless you're told. We didn't know. We said, that's great, that looks great, we'll have that sample. And the next day, it was all twisted and ugly, and we had, we're really sorry, we have to change that now. So not everybody was very happy. But then we learned, and then we went forward, and then one of the problems was that we told our partners for about 5 days to keep coming with different samples about something that we didn't like. We didn't like the color, we didn't like the finish, we didn't like they had scratches and so on. And at some point, they came in and they said, look, dudes, we don't get what you don't see right here, but we'll go ahead and do it anyway. So I don't know who you worked with in any kind of service, but our experience with our partners in China was amazing because these guys were so adamant to get everything right and to get every detail perfect that it was an inspiration for us as well, because usually would be the kind of guys who will say, hey, drop it, we tried enough. But no, they keep trying even though they didn't know what to do next. Now, this is great stuff to talk about that I hope I had more time to talk about in the production, the details about production, about the finish, about the fact they need to know that your product has to have a specific additive inside so it doesn't discolor in time. We learned that about 2 weeks before we had to go to mass production. That was the worst thing. So we had to do everything in a week. We had to get the proper additive and put it in there and figure out the exact composition that we need to put in and test it to figure out that it was going to work for enough time before it discolors. And then things you don't know, and this is stuck to my head for some reason, is you cannot get a plastic product in a full 90 degrees square corner shape due to a process called a draft in engineering, which means you always have to have some sort of an angle, like a couple of degrees, right? Because the molds, for some reason, just don't work. They don't work. And when we learned that, you can't get this out of your head because every single plastic object you own has a little draft. It's just not 90 degrees perfectly square. And we had to fight that, so our product was completely, utterly 90 degrees square rectangular, and we weren't happy that had little degrees, and you had to fight with that. So all these gremlins on the manufacturing floor, you have to fight before you go in mass production, because once you go to mass production, there's no turning back, and it costs you a lot of money. This is a quick mock-up of our packaging, initial packaging. Our partners refined it after that and made it a lot better. And then we had this that you saw before, the finite thing that housed all the cables and the plugs and everything that we needed in the box. Now, is there anybody from the competition in the room? I don't expect them to say yes, but I hope they learned something about this in the process, because this is actually the most important part of it all. When you build anything as complex as this, test the fuck out of it. I mean, I don't think we tested enough. We learned about testing when it was a little maybe towards the end of the process, which got us really tired and really stressed out. But then if you listen to us and learn from what we did, you'll know to test in advance more than we did. So test. Test like you've never tested before. Test the electronics, test the hardware, test the plastics, test the colors, test the finish, test your people, test everything, okay? And then here's what I want you to remember in the end of it. First and foremost, design in-house if you can. We didn't buy our design. We didn't go to a design company. We did this ourselves. It was hard. It was a process. It was expensive, in fact, because we had to train these people. But it was better yet because our people, our designers and engineers, can work at the ethos of the product and make it a core product that our company represented. So it was something that our company, it was something that was made by us, and you could see it in the finite product. Second, choose your right partners. When you're going to start building anything, your partners actually are going to be the ones who are going to decide, or they're going to help you hit success and critical mass, or you're going to fail miserably. Because these people have done stuff before and have a lot of experience. So get your partners right. And then test forever. Like test you've never tested before, and in the end, you're going to have a beautiful product that people want to put in their home and not hide away. That being said, please ask me anything. Thank you. Yes?
We have one question over there.
What is the price for
the box cost $199, which is recommended price in the United States, and that includes a year subscription. That means that all your devices, how many they might be in the home, have protection with this thing. So when usually, historically, you would buy licenses for protecting your computers individually, or those special packages. You don't have this anymore. You just buy one device that sits in the home, that just resides there, and you renew this every year for $100. And that's a lot cheaper and more efficient and better than your older products, for example. We had offers for $139, and probably gonna have, yeah.
I have another question.
Only one, please, because we're running out of time and we want to take one more question, and you can ask Dan afterwards.
Yes, ask me after that.
Is it cheaper or not to work at a third-party production company that will take care of everything
we had
for production and prototyping and everything in China?
I don't know if it's cheaper. We felt more confident. Sorry?
If it's cheaper or not, from point of view.
I think it's cheaper to do it in-house. We didn't make everything ourselves. We had our partners who intermediated a lot of the working with our manufacturers in China. Because if you have no experience working with a factory in China, just go there, you're gonna get screwed. So you'll need to work with somebody. But I mean, is like the design and the engineering. Some of the levels is best that you do in-house, and probably it's cheaper as well. I mean, we didn't know we can do this until we produced the first prototypes. I mean, it was only then that we've actually found out we were good and we could carry on doing this, and we were confident to go on. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately.
Thank you. Find me out at a room later. If you have any other questions, I'll answer them. And we have a little booth somewhere out there, and our colleagues, we can give you a little demo or something, and we can talk more. So thank you very much again.
Thank you very much.